show, Paige Roth.
Thank you so much. Oh, Philip.
Hello there. I noticed actually when that first came up there, we have the same exact initials. It said PR and it threw me off because if I turn off my camera, it's going to say the same thing. I'm like, oh no, something's
You're
broken.
right. I
But
never
it
thought
wasn't
about
you.
that. And that happens to me in meetings all of the time.
Right. Absolutely. Paige Roth from reverb.org. And I think you're the first person to be on the show 3 times.
Wow.
How
All
about
right.
that?
A record.
And
A record.
obviously super dedicated because all 3 of the times were dedicated to the live stream pre-jam of the No Planet B Jamboree.
I know. So cool. We got to keep it going.
That's
I'm
right.
so thrilled that the Jamboree's still going. We'd love to hear it.
Yeah, no, isn't that fun? I mean, it's just so cool that it's finding a path and generating, more interest every year. And you wouldn't know this, but Lehigh Valley is famous for its fest. Like we have Music Fest, obviously, but we also have Garlic Fest, Bacon Fest. There's something called Mayfair. We have Peeps Fest because peeps are actually made here in the Lehigh Valley. We have all these different things, but nothing was dedicated to Earth Day or the environment or anything like that. So, be the change you want to see in the world. I made my own Earth Day festival and just called it the No Planet B Jamboree. But here we are, and hopefully it's again for year 3 of many. And as you know, too, I keep asking you if Reverb can attend the event. So one of these years, that's my other goal, is to have you guys be here in person.
I know. One of these days.
Absolutely.
One of these days. Yeah. Festivals, music, the environment, that's what we're all about. So
100%. Absolutely.
I'd love to see it happening.
Yeah. So before we pivot to Reverb, what'd you think of Shane Gorett? Do you know his music?
I don't think that I'd ever heard of him before, but I love that. I love that anachronistic sound.
Yep.
Very right up my alley.
Yeah.
Blues, bass, rock and roll. So cool.
Yeah, so that's definitely a rabbit hole you're going to want to go down because he's got hit after hit. I mean, I'm surprised that he's not more known and popular, but I think it's brewing. He's still so young that it's unbelievable what he sounds like and is pulling off, and super cool guy. Like the other part about all 3 of these musicians is they've been on the show before, so there are interviews with each one of them to check out as well. So if you like any of the music that you're hearing tonight, then come to nextfaveband.com and you can search and find the interview we did with them so you can hear more music and their backstory, which is we love doing that. But that was Shane Gorett. We've got more music coming up, but now we're going to spend some time learning more about reverb.org. If you've tuned in years past, you already know some of what they're up to, but we always like to kind of kick it off. And I found on your YouTube channel this year, you had this very cool reverb story. So we're going to tap into this for a few seconds, and then we'll come back and talk with Paige about it. But here, enjoy where this all came from, reverb.org story.
Music is the universal language we've always understood. It has the power to bring us together like nothing else. Whether in front of 20 people or 20,000, it transforms us. And when the show is over, we leave with memories of a lifetime. But there can also be a lot left behind, like trash, water bottles, and single-use plastics, from the fans in the front to performers and crew backstage. Pollution, from the gas for the generators to power the lights, the amps, and the sound. There's also the tour buses and all of the vehicles used by the fans to get to the show. Now, multiply that by every concert across the globe. If not done right, there can be a lot of waste. And wasted opportunity. So, what is a solution? Let's start at the beginning. When Lauren, a girl who loved nature, met Adam, a boy who loved music. Together they wanted to start making changes. So they asked the question, how can we transform concerts into events that sustain us and our planet? Their answer was Reverb. And for 20 years, Reverb has worked to use the power of music to bring us together, to solve this problem.
Just a few of the acts working with a green tour company called Reverb.
So it should be industry standard, I think, to work with Reverb.
Grammy Award winner Brittany Howard. She hopes working with Reverb will help increase the level of concern about climate change.
I think a lot of people don't take it seriously enough.
We're trying to be as green as possible on the entire tour. So there's we're actually bringing someone from Reverb.
You know that most of this show is being powered by solar right now. That's pretty fucking cool.
Reverb is working to power shows better, to take simple steps to waste less, to support better food systems and the people building them, and to connect thousands of non-profit campaigns with engaged audiences around the world, fighting the climate crisis and supporting communities facing its worst impacts. Every concert brings people together in a meaningful way, showing us how connected we really are. So let's use concerts as opportunities to inspire action. Because every action we take does make a difference, even if it's a small one. And together, millions of actions create meaningful change, beyond just the music industry, to people all over the planet. And if enough people act, we really can change the world.
So, hang on, too many buttons. What I really find amazing is I found the video, I'm playing it, and it does such a beautiful job of piecing all that together. But you get to that end and you feel inspired and you feel emotional about it. And I really think what you're doing is such amazing work, and it's not easy, but it's not impossible.
It's not. I was having the same feeling every time I see that video. It really, it hits me in the feels, and I do it every day. Every day.
It's
beautiful.
Extremely well done.
I'm so glad you showed it.
Yeah.
That was made because last summer was our 20th summer. So Reverb was founded in 2004. So we had that video made, and it really goes to show how much things have changed in the last 20 years and how many musicians are getting more and more involved with making sustainability part of their tour. And it's beautiful to see. I love all the photos of the different action villages all piled up.
Cool. Yeah. It is very, very cool. And it's just a matter of making that decision that it's important. If you are a festival, if you are a venue, if you are a touring band, you just have to be intentional about your decisions. It doesn't mean that it's going to be easy. I don't know. It's one of those things where I'm always just if somebody's yeah, but that's going to make it hard. Okay. You're not entitled to easy. You're not entitled to water in a one-time use plastic or whatever. There's tons of reasons why, you have to just make that choice. Is taking care of the planet important to you or not? And if it is, then you follow that path. And if it's not, you got to ask yourself why and what that means. So I think that this is the kind of thing where it's to put it out there and show those shots after the concert of how much garbage there is just on the ground. A lot of times you don't see it or think about it because you saw this great show, you left on adrenaline high, and you went to your car and drove home. You didn't look around and see what that looked like afterwards.
Exactly. It's just become acceptable. That is just how people accept that the end of a concert or the end of a festival will look. And so I think it's about both the artists and the fans deciding that this isn't how we want concerts to look when we're done with them.
Right.
So, what can we do about that, and how can we implement change to, as you said, make it easier? If that's part of how we go to concerts and go to festivals, then the systems will change around us.
Totally. And I think too, it's the end sentence there where it says if we all do it, then it gets a little bit easier, it gets a little more possible. It's when we're not all in on it or not all thinking it's important, that's where it becomes, or if we all just say, oh, it's hard, let's not But if we all were in on it, I think it could be, more magical that way. So, and I always like to point it out. So on the back wall here are all our music fest pictures, and our festival should be very proud of the fact that even though it's 41 years in, it has saved tons and tons of garbage by having, since its first year, a reusable mug.
Exactly. If you plan from the start and that's what people come to expect, that's how it will go. We think of it as the same concept as seatbelts. Like you didn't have to wear a seatbelt in the car until the 70s, 80s,
Sure.
and then
Yes.
that changed, and now that's what we always do.
Yes. No, that's
Bringing a
very true.
reusable bag to the store, just thinking of it like your wallet.
Mm-hmm.
It make it part of your daily life, and systemically and culturally the change will follow, and it
Absolutely.
isn't that hard.
Yes, yeah, for sure. So let me bring up the Reverb website so that we can promote a few things off of that, because I always want people to know, like, okay, it's nice for us to be able to talk about this, but it's also how do you make the difference? So obviously you're helping bands do this. That's probably going to be national tours and bigger deals and so on. But there are ways that people can volunteer or just who want to make a difference with helping you what you're doing by making a monetary donation. So let's talk about all these different elements.
Absolutely. So that's a big part of the work that I do. My role at Reverb is the director of volunteer and community programs. So my role in all of Reverb's work involves forming partnerships and bringing out nonprofits to come and table with us at concerts across the country, and then also directing our volunteer program, which is thousands of people really all across the world now. Reverb is a small organization. There are 13 of us full time. We're headquartered in Portland, Maine, although we have some folks spread across the country. And the way that we're able to bring these activism programs to concerts is by having fans come out and volunteer with us. So if you visit our volunteer page on our website, you'll see the applications for the different opportunities that we have. Right now, we're out on the road with Tyler Childers, My Morning Jacket, Phineas, who is in the UK right now, then moves on to Europe. Billie Eilish is about to do her European and UK legs. So if you're listening from, across the pond, we have opportunities there.
And for those people who were maybe on the podcast listening and not seeing it, Billie Eilish was one of the big quotes in that video that we listened to. So she's been a part of this for a number of her tours.
Yeah, she started partnering with Reverb at the end of 2019, which was her first, major tour. And then when the pandemic hit, things got put on hold, but she's been a great partner to us ever since. So different genres, different age ranges, different sized venues, there's a little something for everybody. And because it's spring, more will come online this summer.
Absolutely. Right. And I always like to point this out. So like Lauren and Adam, the founders, Adam is in the band Guster, right?
He is.
Yeah.
He's the guitarist and vocalist sometimes.
Yeah. And so it's always important to come, like this is stemming from people who are doing it themselves. It's not somebody outside who thought this was a good idea and trying to force it on people. That some people dream that kind of garbage up, if you will. But it's like, that's the type of stuff that I always want to point out is like, this is somebody who was doing it themselves and a very successful touring band and opted to do that themselves. And then is now trying to also now be the advocate and the resource for other bands to do it or other festivals or what have you.
It's true. I think that Adam and Guster, really forged a path by proving that, working with Reverb and bringing sustainability into a music tour was possible. So leading by example. And that's a big part of what Reverb can offer to music tours and festivals. Everyone who's on our staff, really understands the logistics and which can be important when incorporating into a moving tour that's going all around the world.
Yeah, this is so cool. It's definitely worth, like, there's obviously way too much to cover in the little bit of time we have here today, that people just need to go to reverb.org and just check it out and learn more about all the different things that you offer. Do you get into, and I didn't see it there, so I'm just asking the question. I have heard that pressing vinyl can be a pretty harmful for the planet. Is there a way? Is there a way to encourage people to do that more green?
Yeah, we've had a couple. We've been getting into that, I think, really since after 2020. Just sort of weighing in and looking at the technology that has changed because, yeah, vinyl's made out of a very toxic material. I
Right.
think we all know that if it melts, it releases poisonous, fumes or gases. It's made out of plastic essentially,
Yeah.
but
Right.
artists like Billie Eilish, a number of other artists are starting to press vinyl made by recycled plastic, so from other vinyl items, and then you get that kind of cool marbled look to the
Right.
album with the different
Hmm.
colors. So as sustainability becomes more and more important both in the live music space and streaming
Sure.
and the physical materials like vinyl, the technology is changing too.
Yeah. I read I was reading an article, one of the preps for tonight. Later on, I'm going to be sharing a couple different articles about just things that are happening on this theme, more positive and hopefully not political. That's one of the things I'm going to get into. But the article at some point said, it was quoting somebody that said, it's mostly been innovation and technology that got us into this mess. So now we need to rely on innovation and technology to get us out of it.
So incredibly true. The things that
Yeah.
have happened in the last 100 years
Hmm.
have
Right.
accelerated at such a rapid pace. So let's see if we can,
Yeah,
not
just pivot it to these
necessarily.
other
Yeah,
great ideas. Like, there's
exactly.
definitely ways to get it done. So, what I was going to touch on though is, again, I feel like I've made it, and I think you'll appreciate this. So I wanted to make sure I brought this on. And I'm not. This isn't a brag. You'll see where I'm going with this in a second. Is, as you heard, I was on the television this past weekend to promote the event. All I'm doing is promoting an event that's free to to provide great music for people, and we just decided to wrap it in the skin of being more sustainable and renewable and a steward of the earth, because I'm passionate about that. So I just figured, hey, if I'm going to have this event that we put on that has you come out and check out great music for free, maybe also, be better to the planet at the same time. And so we go on here and so like I'm going to go search. And so we have, Planet B, and it comes up with the WFMZ post about us. And so if you click on here on these 5 comments, one says 100% fake.
I'm a little scared. Yeah.
Yeah. One says they spew as they sit on a plastic covered couch with blaring set lights using tons of electricity produced by natural gas and nuclear. Planet B, LMAO, as if I designed the television station. Then someone comments underneath that, and they drove their fuel driven car, whether it be gas or electric, with the rubber soled shoes. Lol. This is my personal favorite. What a bunch of woke tards.
Oh, lovely, lovely.
Yeah. And then this is newsworthy WFMZ. So I guess I just wanted to show this as like, don't be this guy. Like, this is, it's just.
It just doesn't really make any sense to me,
No.
regardless of your political
Right.
affiliation.
There's nothing about this that is anything to do with anything other than just good music and things that make things clean water, clean air, and less trash, like all things that I think every human on the planet should be for. So
Agree. And I
don't
think
make it about anything that it's not. I mean, just, you know what though? I almost wanted to come down. If you're one of those people, come down, listen to the music, and have a good time. I hope that we have a beautiful day for this, and I hope people just get a lot less divisive. Like, to me, this is just silly. So anyway, I initially was like shocked, and then I was just like, oh, that means I'm actually getting somewhere. Like, I felt good about it actually.
It's really true. As soon as you have people who are fighting against you, I think that you're taking a stand in the right direction. And I also think that people who spend their time spreading negativity online are not the people who are out there doing things like creating events like you are.
Right, and I just
time to talk, but
I knew I could bring it up because I'm sure Reverb and all its employees have heard its fair share of this garbage. Again, I keep using that word. It's like like that whole, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. But maybe read one of these articles. Maybe have again, just a moment of deciding, should we be ignorant of trash or trying to make it better? Like, to me, these shouldn't be big topics. But anyway, that is the reality, and I applaud you for doing. See, I just do this one day a year, and this happens. You're doing it all year round, and it's certainly worthy of applause. And kudos to the whole team, because it just seems like you're building such great momentum with it all. And if you look at those statistics right on the homepage, it's amazing what you all are doing. So thank you so much for that. Thank you for being a part of our show 3 years since its inception. Thank you for believing in us, for even taking the interview the first year. That was amazing.
Absolutely. Wouldn't miss it. I mean, this is really what it's all about for me, is supporting anything that's grassroots and people making positive change. And I think that's true for all of us. So anywhere from Billie Eilish and Dead and Company to artists who are just starting out, like, let's go.
Absolutely.
Always here for it.
Absolutely. Well, Paige, thank you so much. I do hope we almost ran into each other at one concert. We were in the same space,
Yes.
and you had posted you were going, and I was supposed to go, but then the tickets fell through. But anyway,
I think it was My Morning Jacket.
I think it was My Morning Jacket.
Yes,
Yeah.
Hopefully. I mean, Northeast, we're not that far. So
That's exactly
one
right.
of these days it'll happen.
It'll definitely happen. And then hopefully, again, we get Reverb at one of these Jamboree events one year. But thank you again so much. It has meant so much, and can't wait for next year already, where we can catch up again.
Yeah, best of luck. And I'm rooting for no rain here in Maine. We know how it goes weather-wise, but
Yes,
there's
it can
no
say
bad
one thing and do
weather.
another,
There's
yeah.
just the wrong clothes. That's what we always say. So
All right. Well, Paige, thank you so much.